The candle burns low in a dusty Italian workshop. Wood shavings scatter across the floor, and the air smells of smoke and pine. An old man sits hunched over a block of wood, his fingers trembling as he carves a face, a nose, a mouth, a smile. The walls creak, the shadows stretch, and as the blade scrapes the wood one last time, the puppet moves, its eyes flick open. For a heartbeat, the old man's wish comes true, life from lifelessness. But wishes, in this world, come at a price. Because this isn't the story Disney told you. This isn't about dreams or bravery or magic. This is the story of a wooden boy who lied, killed, and was punished in a way that would haunt generations. This is the real story of Pinocchio and the horrifying origins of the puppet that was never meant to become a real boy. Italy, 1881. Carlo Collodi, a journalist turned author, looks at a country drowning in poverty. Children beg in the streets, pickpockets vanish into alleyways, and hunger whispers in every home. Collodi wants to teach them obedience. Not through kindness, but through fear. And so, he writes The Adventures of Pinocchio, not a tale for children, but a warning for them. The first version of his story doesn't end with a happy transformation. It ends with a corpse swaying from a tree. In Collodi's version, the moment Geppetto carves the puppet's mouth, the wood laughs. A dry, chilling laugh, sharp, mocking, almost alive. Before Geppetto can even finish carving him, the puppet snatches his wig and runs into the street, screaming insults. The neighbors think Geppetto's gone mad, chasing a wooden boy who doesn't exist. They drag him to the police, and the old man who wanted a son ends up in jail. Pinocchio, meanwhile, dances through the village laughing, unaware that he's already cursed. That night, he meets a small talking cricket who tries to warn him. Bad children who disobey their parents will end in tears. But Pinocchio doesn't listen. He picks up a hammer and crushes the cricket against the wall. A sharp crack. Silence. That was the real Pinocchio. Violent, selfish, and cruel. Collodi's world wasn't painted in songs and starlight. It was carved in punishment and blood. Pinocchio tries to go to school, but temptation follows him. He sells his spelling book, the one Geppetto bought by selling his only coat, just to buy a ticket to a puppet show. On stage, the other puppets stop mid-performance, shocked to see him. They whisper, "It's him, the one without strings." The puppet master, a terrifying man named Fire Eater, drags Pinocchio forward. His beard glows red in the light of the flames. "I'll use him for firewood," he growls, grabbing the boy by the neck. Pinocchio sobs. The heat burns his wooden skin, but Fire Eater spares him at the last moment, only because the boy's tears seem too real. He lets him go, muttering, "Lying will be your death, puppet." The fire crackles behind him, a prophecy in flames. But Pinocchio never learns. He lies to the blue fairy, he lies to his father, he lies to everyone until the curse shows itself. His nose begins to stretch, not like the funny Disney version, but grotesquely, splintering, cracking, twisting across the room like a growing branch. He screams in horror as the fairy stares coldly. "This is what falsehood looks like," she says. "Every lie, a scar. Every deceit, a branch of shame." And then come the fox and the cat, two thieves disguised as beggars. Their smiles never reach their eyes. They tell him of a place called the Field of Miracles, where if he buries his gold coins in the dirt, a tree will grow overnight, its branches heavy with money. He believes them. He digs into the soil and hides his coins, dreaming of riches. When he returns, the field is empty. He runs into the forest, shouting, but the only answer is the sound of footsteps behind him. The fox, the cat. Their eyes glint in the darkness. "Give us the rest of your coins," they snarl. Pinocchio refuses. So they tie a rope around his neck and drag him beneath a tree. The wind howls through the branches. The rope tightens. And there, under a moon that watched without mercy, the wooden boy swings. Lifeless Collodi's story ends here. Not with magic, not with love, just silence. A puppet, a body, a warning. When this story appeared in Giornale per I Bambini, Italy's children's magazine, the public was horrified. Mothers wrote angry letters. Priests called it blasphemy. How could anyone tell children a story that ends in hanging? And so, under pressure, Collodi rewrote the ending. Not because he wanted to, but because the world demanded a softer lie. He brought Pinocchio back to life, saved by a mysterious blue-haired woman, the fairy with azure hair. But even then, her kindness is cold, almost ghostly. She doesn't grant wishes. She punishes every time Pinocchio lies. She reminds him, truth has a price. Every time he disobeys, she watches silently, waiting for him to understand. But Pinocchio's world keeps growing darker. He's lured into a place called the Land of Toys, a paradise where boys can play forever. No school, no rules, no pain. The streets are full of laughter, the air thick with candy and smoke, but the laughter soon turns to screams. One morning, Pinocchio wakes up and touches his ears. They're long, furry. A mirror reveals the horror he's turning into a donkey. So are all the boys. The Land of Toys is a trap. The children are sold to the circus, beaten, forced to perform until they collapse. Pinocchio is thrown into the sea. where fish gnaw off his donkey flesh, stripping him back to wood. He rises again, a puppet reborn from his own suffering. When he finds Geppetto trapped inside a monstrous shark, it's no friendly whale like in Disney. It's a creature from nightmares, enormous, ancient, swallowing ships whole inside its belly. He finds his father pale, starving, eyes empty from despair, and something inside Pinocchio changes. For the first time, he doesn't lie, doesn't run. He saves the old man, carrying him on his back, swimming through darkness until they reach the shore. He works tirelessly to care for him, cutting wood, studying, earning food coin by coin. And one night, the blue fairy appears again. When Pinocchio wakes in the morning, something feels strange. He touches his face, it's warm, his hands soft, his heart beating. He is human. But beside him, on the chair, lies the puppet, motionless, hollow-eyed, lifeless. Collodi wrote, Pinocchio, the puppet was gone. A real boy stood in his place. But what he really meant was that the puppet had died. The boy wasn't born from love or magic. He was born from pain. In Collodi's Italy, children weren't protected from cruelty. They were shaped by it. His message was brutal. Obedience through suffering. Truth through punishment. Every horror in the story, the hanging, the donkey's ears, the talking crickets, death, was a lesson carved into wood. Collodi once wrote that he wanted his tale to straighten the crooked souls of boys. That's what Pinocchio was. A moral execution disguised as fantasy. When Disney adapted it in 1940, they stripped away the nightmare, leaving only hope and innocence. But under the smiling songs and cheerful wishes still lingers Collodi's warning that lies have weight, that rebellion has consequence, and that growing human often means dying first. So picture the workshop again. The candle flickers, shadows stretch like fingers, the chair creaks, and there, in the darkness, sits the puppet, his painted eyes staring into nothing. The room feels colder now, because somewhere between the wood and the flame, between the truth and the lie, something still breathes. A whisper in the silence. Always let your conscience be your guide. But in Collodi's tale, conscience wasn't a song, it was a curse. It followed you like a shadow, whispering every time you lied. Because in the end, the real horror of Pinocchio isn't that he was made of wood, it's that we still are. Each lie we tell carves another string. Each truth we avoid tightens the rope. Until one day, we realize the truth Collodi warned of over a century ago, that the puppet who longed to be real was never just a story. He was all of us. And we've been hanging from that tree ever since. If you enjoyed this journey through Mystery Vault, make sure to subscribe and join us for more mysteries of history and the world around us.